Car order. It's always been car order.
I strongly disagree.
That's the way it is. Ripped him out through the window in a nice way.
Just so I can go down and drink a carton while everyone punches on.
Just pisses me to tears. That's the worst thing you can do.
You shut up, you hack. Talking about boat ramps, this is what I wanted to get through from the start. What he said.
Oh, you just been an idiot.
And welcome to the Chumming Up Podcast, the fishing, spearfishing, and ocean adventure podcast that is like Perth weather. We're pretty shit this time of year, but we're here still, doing our best. I am Squirly, and with me, as always, is LEEWOLD. Mitchell, how you going, big horse?
Yeah, mate, going good. How are you?
Oh, fucking cold. Fucking over the rain. I'm over Perth, people. Fucking every day they're like, oh, it's good we got rain. It doesn't rain in Perth. It rained yesterday, cunt.
Yeah.
It rained the day before.
Yeah.
It does not stop fucking raining.
Well, I think that happens everywhere because obviously we're both from Exmouth and that always shat me in Exmouth. People go, oh, yeah, we need it. It's like, what do you got a fucking station around here I don't know about, cunt? It's a desert. What do you need it for? The one cactus in your backyard?
Yeah, you're growing spinifex, mate.
Yeah, it's like it's just made the water dirty for me to go fucking diving and now I got to round up some weeds. I didn't need it.
Fucking, I'm with you. Anyway, enough about us complaining. We got a guest to bring in on complaining. From way back in the day, one of the OGs of fucking Exmouth fishing, pro-fishing, and just drinking piss at the pub, I guess, as well. Dan Chapman, how you going? Big horse.
I'm very well, thank you, Squirly. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Lee.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you for inviting me on the show. It's been a long time coming, and I'm pretty fucking excited, mate.
Oh, fucking. Well, what did we have? 3 fucking false starts before we got you over the line, too.
No, there was 1 or 2. There was definitely, I think maybe the first one.
There was 3, you cunt.
Was there? Yeah, there might have been. I was just waiting for the right time, and I just thought the right time was now. And fucking, I'm much more excited about this than the fucking weather show. I can tell you that, mate.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you're semi-based down here, so this is becoming your life a bit. But you got some good fish the other night.
Yeah, yep. So I sort of do the opposite of what most people do. So I'll fish summer in Exmouth because there's no one there, and I've sort of become a bit addicted to blue marlin fishing, and I'm fucking terrible at it.
Yep.
And I'll do the winter in Ledge Point, and most of you will know Ledge Point's a beautiful, quiet little town, and I've been getting the odd good fish off the beach. Between me and a mate, we got a nice mullet and a nice snapper so far. I'm sort of putting it all together and have been for the last few months. So I'm sort of nutting it out. I'm sort of there, but I'm sort of not. But just for anyone who gives a fuck, that pinky I've been chasing for 25 years, I reckon, and I've spent some horrendous nights out on North Mole, off the rocks, in the rain, in the storms, and don't even think I ever hooked one, mate. So for me to catch that, I was by myself and I was fucking ecstatic. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I was fucking ecstatic.
So what size was it, Dan? How long?
It was 870, but that's nice. from the nose to the tail, not the fork. So 870. I got a bit excited and said 8 kilos. I reckon it might have been 6. 6 or 7.
Yeah, right.
But see, that's good you cleared up to the point because when I went to New Zealand, I thought, fuck, their fish must be fat because they just call them really short, but they were measuring them to the fork.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit. No, it makes sense.
Yeah. So that was a huge pinnacle in my fishing career, and I feel like I've done a bit, and that was one of my finer points, mate. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, one of the tough ones.
Yeah.
Like I seen a post the other night or yesterday, some chick off, I think it was the North Mole, fucking first fish, massive pinky.
Yeah, they smack 'em, man, this time of year.
Yeah.
As soon as those nor'westlies come in, like you get a bit of a different angle on the rocks and you're getting trade southwesterlies all year. And the theory is that the nor'westerly comes in, hits on that other side and basically creates a massive burley trail, knocks all the crabs off, knocks all the mussels and knocks all the weed off because it comes in once or twice a year. So everything grows on that far side.
Yeah,
and
okay.
when it comes in, it creates this massive burley trail. That's the theory.
Yeah, right.
It's like run-off pinky fishing.
Fuck.
Basically. Yeah.
There you
so
go.
That's the theory. That's what I've heard.
Makes sense.
It does, yeah. That's what I've heard some real gun pinky fishermen, land-based pink fishermen say that the crabs get railed, the fucking mussels, all the kind of shit.
So I wonder if like a rock crab or whatever then would be a good bait or half a blue swimmer or something,
funny
you know?
you say that because that pinky I caught off the beach was full of sand crabs.
Yeah,
Yeah, full of them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
Sussing
there
it
you go.
out.
That's bloody awesome.
Yeah.
But in the day too, before you even moved to Exmouth, you used to rail a few Metro 30 kegger mull away. I remember seeing photos when you were just a young whippersnapper.
I never got one 30 kilos. Michael Jacob, I saw get one night that bottomed out 30 kilo scales off
Yep.
Medora Bay Beach.
But that was with you.
That was with me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, we've tried to get him on the podcast too.
Yeah,
Me and him just fucking miss each other a lot.
Yeah. And
He's a very hard person to get hold of over in America. So
Funnily
he was
enough-
hard to get hold of fucking to slow down in Australia, but when he over there.
funnily enough, I spoke to him the other night. So since I got that call from you, which was a very pleasant surprise, Shay,
Yeah.
I've chased him down and I can't find him on Facebook. He tells me he's been banned.
Yeah, he told me he got banned permanently.
Which is no surprise.
yeah.
Let's
Makes
face it.
sense.
So yeah, he told me he got banned, and you know, I've been close with him for a long time, you know. So we sort of got him working on Van Diemen back in the day. Me and him deckhand for Joe for a year.
Yeah.
And of course,
So from the start of that, Van Diemen professional fishing boat that you used to own.
Yeah, my old man owned Van Diemen. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So it was a 48-foot.
fibre hull, Rex Norton
Yeah,
fibre
Rex
hull.
Hull,
Yeah, it was
Norton
actually
Sea.
45, extended to 48. It was the
Yeah,
biggest
it
cray
was.
boat on the coast for a while.
Yeah.
Used
Yeah,
to work
right.
out of Calbarry. Then it went to Port Brevard Charters, and I've still got a few old photos there.
Yeah,
With
and
the Port Brevard on the front.
yeah,
Yeah.
a red
And,
boat.
when
like
Rob-
Port Brevard always had the
Yeah.
red boat, and then my old man Rob bought it up to Exmouth, and
Yep.
we used to commercial fish off it.
Yep. So I once me and Lee were done on Helvetia, I got moved on, and Jabba Spears was deckhand on it at the time, funnily enough.
Yep.
And I took his spot, and then Lee took on the Rose. And yeah, I did a couple of years for Joe, or maybe one or two, and then we got Mo involved. And yeah, there's a bit of history there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now he's over in the US fucking.
He said he was quarantined somewhere, man. I can't remember exactly where, but quarantine in another country because he wasn't allowed back in. But he's having a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and he
right.
got
That's
and he
awesome.
got married.
He's married and he's got a kid on the way, a
Oh,
baby
good on
girl
him.
called Makira.
Oh, really?
I think that's part of the name.
yeah, right.
Well, he was a bloody good. I remember he was a bloody good worker on the commercial boat, and then he's always good hand to have at the pub too, because he'd always back you if you're in a fight, or if you weren't in one, he'd start one.
The cunt could throw him.
He could throw him,
and
yeah.
he wasn't scared of anyone, mate.
Nah,
he's
he'd
a fucking
always
gem of a
he'd
bloke.
go straight into it, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't mind the giant fly kick either.
the flying chest kick.
yeah.
He got it down pat over a couple of years.
Oh,
didn't he?
mate, not many people can pull that off, but
He's a special kid when it comes to that sort of stuff, didn't he? And he didn't give a fuck about anyone. Yeah, these days, like I've said to you in the past, Shay, you get locked up for that sort of shit these days, mate. So I think we all left that in the past a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. But they were good times, weren't they, Dan? When we were commercial fishing together.
yeah. Well,
best time of my life.
tell that how that started. So obviously, LEEWOLD was your first skipper on Helvetia. You came
Correct.
from down this way, down Perth way, and moved to Exmouth. I think you were working in a tackle shop when I met you.
That's 100% spot on, mate. Yeah, I worked at Exmouth Tackle and Camping with Sean Brandenburg and Louise and Steve, and the way it all come about, like Benno, my mate, I sort of followed him up, and he was worked at Betsy's, which Lee and Rob were at the start when I first met him.
Yep.
And
Which
then
is
moved
the
to
shop now, which is the
That's
first
right.
fish shack.
That's
Yep,
exactly
our
right.
shop.
So it all taught.
Yeah, round in circles.
Yeah, it all went around in circles,
Yeah,
you know.
fishing cycles.
Yeah, yep. And I we were actually talking about fighting. We were in a scrap at the pub one night, and Benno left me in Lee's capable hands to look after. Not get excited, so I was pretty young and keen to get in there, and you know. And that's how we met, and we become good friends. And then when Lee took over Helvetia from Nigel and Bert, it was me and Lee, and it was fucking awesome, man.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I was 20.
From day one was wet, like, so you wet lining boat, so catching fish to sell. You guys were catching like fairly big amounts of fish back in those days, sort of establishing the gold band market or fishery up there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pioneered it. Joe Gallop, who still fishes for me now, he was probably the first with another guy, Riddles, out of Coral Bay. And then then Joe brought that style of fishing to us in Exmouth. Me and my old man were already fishing there. And then Dan come along real early days, and me and him, we just had a ball.
Yeah.
Fishing or drinking rum, basically. And there was nothing else in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had rum on tap back in the pub those days.
Oh, I remember.
And that fucking that Bundaberg swag that we had to go put cards in for. And I remember Yeah, we had to, every time you got a bundy, they'd stamp a card.
Yeah.
One of the marks on the card, like a free coffee. And they did a count at the end, and Lee had stopped drinking, and he hadn't been drinking for I think it went for a few months, and he had a couple of months off the piss, and he had 500 odd of these cards. And I had about 700. Me and him were ahead.
Yeah,
The third one was Buddha, and they didn't draw it. They just thought, fuck, these cunts have got that many cards. We'll give it a damn. So I ended up getting it, yeah. Rum on tap, fucking unreal.
Yeah.
Would have took a couple of years off our life expectancy, that shit, I
The
reckon.
black rats, Aaron Cooper used to call them the black rats. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have had to. So, well, from them days, what's a fish that stands out? Are there any fish that stand out from while you were fishing
Oh, look, man.
that, or just
Yeah, fucking.
nights?
Yeah, look, there's, the first couple of trips I did with Rob and Lee. Lee got his first, we got double hook up, first sailfish, first black marlin on Helvetia. Probably
Yep.
should be saying this, but it's all on Mackie lures.
Yeah, we were fishing for mackerel then,
Yeah,
commercial fishing for mackerel.
yeah.
We got a double on sales. That was my first sailfish.
Yeah. Rankin Bank dogtooth.
Yep.
Huge for me. Just amazing. Just the whole experience, Squirrels, like when it was like, you guys on Blue Horizon, you and Damo would do your bit in the summer, and then there was the Equalizer, Philip King.
The Mackie King.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Mackie King, Philip King, Sharia Moore, Sandman, Helvetia, Van Diemen. Just the whole experience was fucking awesome, man. There's not one standout fish. There's been many standout days,
Yep.
but not one standout fish.
I think it was our first day. Maybe it might have been second trip, man. You did. We got a 42 kilo amberjack.
Yeah, we got a 42 kilo amberjack.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I've still got photos of that too, and that was out in those front wellheads, and I'll never forget it. We had two massive amberjack on the bottom two hooks, 42 and 30 kilos, and the two top hooks had two monster mangrove jacks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
right.
like 20 hooks in between with fuck all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We caught a big tiger shark at the same
Got a
time. I
big
think.
tiger shark. You tell
Yeah.
that story, Leewold.
Yeah.
Not these days.
Nah. But back then we were allowed it we went mackerel fishing and we used to sell sharks back in them days. They've stopped us selling sharks now, but used to be real good money in the sharks. So yeah, even big tiger sharks and everything, we'd catch them and sell them and that. But yeah, they've put a stop to that now. That sharks are the in thing.
Fuck, do you see the video? I don't know what country it was in, of the bloke swimming and the tiger shark eating him.
Mate,
Fuck, it's brutal.
chilling.
Oh, it's-
Fucking chilling, man. That's,
It's always a dumb thing when you hear people say, like I've swam with a lot of tiger sharks, all three of us have.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's always a dumb thing when you say people, oh, they're puppy dogs, they don't want to eat you. Or it's like, no, they're just more opportunistic than anything else. You turn your back on it, it'll eat you. That's why they eat turtles, because there's no fucking work in it.
Yeah.
And then they're, oh, no, it's a mistaken identity. It's like, well, how come 2 or 3 people a year in Hawaii get eaten by tiger sharks?
Yeah,
There's no fucking whites there, you dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. The Hawaii is the biggest, there's a shark responsible for the biggest number of attacks and deaths per year, isn't it?
Yeah,
Pretty sure
well-
it is.
Well,
Yeah.
the worst thing is if I used to, just as a kid, read all the old shark attack stories and stuff like that, the deadliest creatures books and shit like that. All the most horrific ones are tiger sharks, because once they decide to bite you, then they bite you again, and they'll
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's people that have been bitten like 16, 17 times trying to get away, because they're kind of like the fox of the sea, as you say. They don't want to get hurt or get injured, but they'll keep hanging around and wait till they get a chance. And then like this tiger shark, the mauled old mate, is fucking huge.
Yeah, and the problem with that is, like you said, is that the fox of the sea, until they're 1,000-pound animal,
Yeah.
and then they're not. They're just like, fuck you. And people are like, oh yeah, I swam with a 6-footer last week. They're timid, and it's like, this thing's just going to come in and tear your fucking head off.
Yeah,
they just
yeah.
charge it. They just push you straight out of the way and just mouth open. You see these dickheads with their hands on their nose going, oh yeah, they love to be scratched. It's like that thing was trying to eat you, but you're touching it in its blind spots. I didn't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, in crystal clear water with fucking sharks that they've been feeding for years.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, I can do that with my dog.
Yeah. Yeah, go out there with the pack of wolves and start fucking scratching one under the chin.
Yeah.
And the thing with them is that they'll be in the shallowest of water too. The run in I had that was the scariest I've ever had with a tiger shark was off Jance Beach, 50 metres off Jance Beach.
Yep.
Death rolled in my float line and, you know, I was probably here to the TV away from it before I realised what it was and did the fucking, the bolt back to the beach and it followed us all the way in. I got back to the beach and said to everyone we're camping there, fucking bullshit they reckon, and then come in with me float.
Yeah.
All the way to the beach and it swam up and down the beach for an hour or so, 2 hours, and you could see it was right there, stalking what.
Yeah, trying to figure out where the feed come from.
And like you said, Lee, that was a fucking 1,000-pound, I would say, pregnant female.
Yep.
By the fucking guts on it.
Yeah.
And it was not fucking scared of anything, mate. And that wanted blood. Yeah, big time.
Yeah, well, even like when when you're tournament fishing, you got to tag different types of sharks, hammerheads, and this and that for different points, and it's just tag and release these days. And I don't kill them anymore, not like we used to, which I thought was a lot of fun. But obviously, that's not how the world looks at it anymore.
Agree, mate.
I'm disgusted by both of you.
Fuck off, mate. I remember that fucking massive hammerhead you slaughtered off Bundiki Jetty.
Oh,
Dare I say?
But one thing is, you got to catch them on different line classes, and when you see a big one come in, you just rub your hands together because you catch it, you wire it on fucking 700-pound wire and get a tag in it, and you know as soon as you bloody cut the wire, you can stick a bait out again and catch it on a different line class because they just do not give a fuck. Them big tigers are just like, okay, you fought me for 20 minutes, pulled on me like fuck, been stabbed in the head. Let's do it again.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
It's not even a fucking thing of dumbness, is it? It's just like, fuck, I'm hungry.
You're going to feed me again for that? I'll go through it.
Fuck it. Yeah, let's go fucking 10 rounds.
Yeah, well, that's the other stupid part that's come out of this, like old mate getting bitten, is we got to find a reason why this happened. And they're like, why was a tiger shark in that close? And I was like, because that's where they fucking live.
Yeah.
They live in shallow. They live in out deep. They live everywhere. There's tiger sharks everywhere.
That's dead right, you know. And that one that Lee was talking about come out of 180 metres, and I can't remember one specific one that I've seen caught whilst ruby fishing, but I'm sure there has been.
Yeah.
You know, so you're talking fucking half a metre to 350, you know.
Yeah, definitely on the bottom, yep.
Yeah.
I've seen two on Christmas Day sitting in Sandy Bay before all the fucking kite surfers took it over. So, I mean, bring back the tiger shark fucking, I reckon.
100%.
Yeah.
But I seen two sitting there on Christmas Day and fucking their dorsals were out of the water because it was that shallow. I mean, you say Sandy Bay, it's fucking less than a metre.
Yeah.
And like the only thing that moved them was the fact people fucking come there.
Traffic
down there, like fuck that. Otherwise, you'd see tiger sharks along there all the time.
And big ones, were they? Squirrels?
They weren't small.
Yeah.
Like not fucking huge, not like your 1,000-pounder that you're talking about, but you know, like 9-10 foot tigers. Yeah. You know, which are fucking unreal to see in that shallow. They're fucking good-looking fish.
They are, mate.
Yeah.
And because they're protected, of course, they're monsters in training, really, aren't they? That's all they are. Yeah. So 9-10 foot, they'll be 15 foot before you know it. And then
they're only protected down here. The big tigers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones up there you can still take.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's only till Kalbarri or something. I think it's the West Coast region because they come under the whaler thing. They've got between the two dorsals of what size you can keep.
I have had info on that. I'm just trying to remember a message. I think they changed that.
They might have got rid of it.
Yeah, I think they got rid of it. I remember
they should get rid of it.
Someone messaging the podcast.
Yeah, they should get rid of it because it's just a dumb thing. It's like you can't have, buddy, you know, how many tiger sharks are getting caught off the beach in the metro every second day and go, these things are endangered. Yeah. They're a great bloody sport fish for people to catch. And there's people out there willing to eat them. I'm sure out of these cold waters down here, they're probably beautiful.
Yeah, they'd probably be good eating. Ones they're catching off the beach here, they're, you know, there's right sort of size that you could.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how good a grander's going to taste. Be a good set of jaws on the wall.
Oh, fuck yeah.
They brought it upon themselves, but this fucking influx of, you know, blokes going out there and chasing off the beach, you see, because they brought in the drum lines and what they catch? Tiger sharks. And they fucking put it all over the media. And what are you going to get? Fuck me, there's tiger sharks here. Let's canoe a couple of baits out.
Yeah.
Right? And then it starts.
Yeah.
And then you've got these, and fucking why not? You know, like, why not?
But it's all going to get banned.
Of course it will.
There won't be because the people that are coming up with the ideas of why these attacks happen or why there's more sharks than that. They're never investigating themselves. Like you never hear it's because we catch heaps and tag them or because we chum up the waters to dive with them. It's always it's because there's fucking beach fishermen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, you do the exact same thing to put the fucking tags in.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's with every department of everything. It's like, it's like coral bleaching or whatever. It's like, if I keep finding problems, then I justify my job and my employment exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're like, oh, figure out the problem with sharks, sack yourself and leave everyone else.
Yeah.
No problem. You'll
Yeah.
never find another one because you don't exist.
Yeah.
But then you're unemployed and doesn't, that's the system of bureaucracy.
Yeah. Actually, did you guys see one of the game fishing comps over in America?
The Big Rock.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So what was it? Was it 3.4 million US prize money? Had it in the bag. I think it was a 600 and something pounder blue.
Yeah.
And it had been nibbled on the fin by a shark, which disqualifies it in fucking IGFA rules because it's hadn't had the full potential fight. They fought it for 6.5 hours. $3.4 million check, and they lost it. They'd already weighed it.
Yeah.
And it's like they're all high-fiving and shit, and they're like, did it get nibbled on by a shark? They're like, yeah, it did. And it's like, that under IGFA rules disqualifies it. They're like, oh, that's so no cheating, nothing. But it's like, that's,
I'm
3.4 mil.
I'm not going to lie. Like, I am as honest with game fishing rules as fucking anyone else. I don't see any point in cheating. I would have been like, boys, we did not see a shark fucking nibble on that cunt before we went in.
3.4 million.
When it's
US.
like fucking, even just like the fact that it does it, like it wouldn't have contributed
Wouldn't
to
have changed
anything.
the thing. They've done like 6-hour fight, apparently.
If it's got a huge bite out of its ass or something like that,
Yeah.
Did they get nibbled on about? Nah.
I don't know.
They came up without a tail.
Some of these tournaments, I don't know with the Big Rock, but some of them have observers on there, or you got to film it and that.
Yeah.
And also,
I'm pretty sure 1 million buys that cunt off.
but a credit to them as well. Like if unless they tried to do the dirty, I don't know, without being there. But credit to them.
Yeah, good on the broke
better
bastards.
than better. I don't think that broke's
Nah,
like
true.
backing in with their 70-foot Viking. It's like,
Yeah,
this poor hard done by a cunt. You know?
You really could use that 3.4.
Yeah.
Might have put some new engines in it or something.
Yeah.
But fuck, good on them. It's better than the dudes stuffing sinkers in those fucking walleyes or whatever,
Yeah.
That's blown up, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Fucking lucky cunts.
Oh yeah, it's one
So
that
what
they
happened
get
to them?
shot.
Did they end up in jail? There was talk of them going to.
No, I think they took like all their boats and shit.
Yeah.
I think, I don't think they ended up going to jail or anything.
They wouldn't be able to
like
show
that,
your
but-
face around many places, would you?
fuck.
You'd have to leave the
big
country.
India.
Ballsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, stupid, really. Yeah.
Having
fuck.
said that, there's probably like a circuit on the podcast circuit where you just go on there and people listen because you're a cockhead sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like anything, like a Chappelle Corby, you make money off it.
Yeah.
After the facts, like, oh, they're a celebrity. It's like, no,
Yeah.
they're a criminal.
These
Straight up, yeah.
guys are just on like Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
Just these fishermen with ball sinkers in their fucking pockets.
Yeah, imagine how good this guy could dance without the lead.
Fuck me. Yeah. So we went a fair way off of
Yeah,
where you were. So your fishing journey in Exmouth, obviously you were fishing with LEEWOLD, then with Joe, who I think.
Well, it was a year with Joe whilst the Mitchells owned it.
Yep.
And then there was 2 or 3 or maybe even, at least 3, if not more, when Joe had it himself, and then Jimmy Money briefly.
Yep.
And then I jumped on Racketeer for a couple of trips, and then did a full circle back to the Rose with Lee, and then ended up with you on Blue Ori for a short stint.
Short stint. Yep.
Yep. And then and I guess that really does sort of lead me to where I was today, and I sort of pulled the pin on that and went offshore. And as we all know, as soon as offshore, as quickly as it went gangbusters, it pretty much went bust for the company I was working for.
Yep.
And I found myself 29 years old with bills and nothing really coming in, and I ended up going underground, and that's when I started working for a different drill company. And
Web Drill. Sponsors are coming up.
I wasn't working for Web Drill at the time. I swapped to Web Drill about 3 years ago, and now I'm a site supervisor at one of their underground diamond drilling operations.
Was it the hats that got you over the line? Because
it was actually the roster.
Fuck,
squirrels.
I'm sexy as shit in the
put
hat.
Put a red one on there.
The red one's mine.
Yeah.
I already got my eyes on it.
It was the roster squirrels, yeah. So the company I
More
was
fishing time?
2 and 2 roster. They offered a 2 and 2 roster.
Yeah.
And going back and forth to Exmouth, 2 and 1.
Yep.
Like it was actually during the peak of COVID, and I was driving to Perth to fly out from Perth to Kalgoorlie every swing.
Yeah, right.
So that was fucked.
Yep.
And you know what sort of put it into perspective was I was driving out of town one night and I didn't hit a cow. A cow hit me on the side.
I've had one of them cows.
Yeah, you have. But it's not that it was dangerous, you got to drive.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I was doing it. I'd fly in from fucking Cal after 2 weeks underground and have to drive home for a week off and be doing it. Tell you what, mate, it's not a fucking fun drive, not that often.
Yeah.
So the 2 and 2 was appealing, and I did that for a while, and then of course business was a booming when it comes to underground diamond drill, and so we put more rigs on, and then of course when you put more rigs on, you can't have an even time roster because you need, say, to man a 2 and 2 rig, you need 4 drillers.
Yep.
To man a 2 and 1 rig, you only need 3. So that's where it goes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I ended up going back to 2 and 1, and now I'm on 8 and 6, 8 days on, 6 days off, which is pretty fucking good.
That's a good roster.
Really good roster. Really good
roster.
roster.
Is it 8 and 6, 7 and 7?
No, just 8 and 6 the whole time. Yep. So I was doing 7 and 7, and of course flying back up to Exmouth on a 7 and 7 roster. But to put it in perspective, let's talk dollars quickly. For me to fly myself to Perth and accommodate myself and travel on a 2 and 1 roster a year is about 25 grand. So you imagine going to 7 and 7, you imagine that would go up at least by another 2/3.
Yep.
So it was but 8 and 6, perfect, mate.
Yeah,
perfect.
right.
And being at Ledge Point, I'll land on Friday night and I'm there at 10 at night. I spend the first night relaxing, sleep, and then the next day I get into me beach fishing for a few days and then go from there. But yeah, looking like going back to where we were fishing wise, it was definitely the peak of my life. Being a young bloke.
Yeah,
I drove for a couple of years, and we talked about Joe Gallup before, the only fly in, fly out wet line skipper. He's a fucking animal, and I got left a bit of a dynasty of his spots with his boat, and sort of did well off his back.
Yeah,
we still worked hard.
Yeah.
Like Matt Cross was me decky actually.
Yep.
The first time that I worked with him, I'm like, I don't like this guy. And then by the end of it, like, this cunt is the best worker.
Yep.
And I got a lot of time. I got all the time in the world for Matty Cross.
Yep.
But,
I think anyone in the fishing industry in WA sort of knows that Joe's top of the tops. What do you think sort of sets him apart from other professional fishermen? Is there one thing, or is it just...
He's a freak, man.
For me,
either one.
Yeah, there's probably drives definitely one thing.
Yep.
Yeah, commercial fishing's very much, I would imagine, all money-related fishing, charter fishing's probably very similar. That the day people come along, it's like, this is what I want to do. And once 2 years goes by, that's a long fucking time. And there's a lot of pressure in fishing. So fishing has a lot of pressure that people don't see, charter and commercial. That once you catch those fish, you got to do it again the next day. You can't catch the same ones again.
Yeah.
And you can't just have a bad day. It just can't happen. Where Joe has a lot of drive and wants to do better and learn and catch and make it successful and maintain the boat and everything, and not have, I've done it for 5 years, I'm tired of it. It's like, nah, let's keep at it. And because of that, he can make very good money at it. And no one can stay with him. I haven't seen anyone be able to stay with him.
Yep.
There's always a lot of talk, but I haven't seen it. And the guys, the other thing I think that's set Joe apart from a lot of guys before, he doesn't drink, no drugs, none of that goes on the boat. We don't have any of that on the boat either. We don't employ anyone with drugs. No drinking on the boat. I obviously drink alcohol, but, your old-time fishermen is they go out there and smash a carton of piss. This is, and then it's dangerous and this and that, where, like my children, I wouldn't want my kids going out with some of them old prawn skippers and this and that, but I would love for my kids to go out with Joe. you send someone with Joe, you're going to learn the most and be looked after like family. You know, he's just good. That's, yeah.
Great.
Is that that sort of your?
Yeah, his motivation and drive, man, that's what sets him apart. You know, the guy was just committed to be the best, and he is by far, you know, like Lee said, there's talk. And that's all there is, mate. Bullshit fucking walks.
Yeah, and work ethic, you know.
Massive work ethic. You know, we're talking like as far as work ethic goes, you know, I worked with your old man and fuck, I've seen him do 40-hour fucking days, you know, massive long days, pick away and get the chocolates, you know. But and Joe's the same. He'll fucking he'll just fucking fish and fish and fish.
Yeah.
Not afraid to look for something new.
Yep.
Not afraid to go a bit further. Not afraid to go as far as he possibly can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's fucking something there. And that's what he did.
Backing himself.
And that's what he did on Racketeer. You know, he went up to fucking places where we couldn't get to previously.
Yep.
And I don't know the exact stats, but fuck, I heard some stories.
Yeah.
Big catches.
Yeah, incredible catches, like
Incredible.
trap boat catches.
Yeah,
on
trap
line
boat
boats,
sort of catches, you know.
Yeah, but on a
6-7
wet
ton.
line
I do
boat.
remember him coming
6
in
and
with
7 ton of just goldies with mixed fish on board, you know, like that's incredible.
Massive. You know, and I fucking trap fished on big boats out of Darwin, you know, and we were doing 2 weeks and we were sort of getting, you know, 11 to 14 ton.
Yeah.
And that's fucking running 60, 70 traps, man. Like day in, day out, 5-man
on
crews.
them massive cat
Massive
boats,
cat, Star Cat and Starfire.
Yeah.
And I love that as well. That was fucking awesome. But, you know, this guy's doing that in the Pilbara on a wet
line
boat,
boat,
on a line boat, for fuck's sake, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have any like days or nights that stand out for just a catch? Like big, I know you guys spacked the rubies for a fair bit while
LEEWOLD
there.
smacks the rubies.
Yeah, well, I was at the forefront of that, luckily. Like Joe was with Gold Band and brought it to us. I was right there when the ruby fishery was basically not discovered, but the market sort of was. There was old deep water trawlers that had caught them and all this talk. But yeah, we sort of went pretty hard on them in the day,
Yep.
which was pretty cool. And there's still plenty of them there. Even the charter boys, all the recce guys come up to Exmouth and that, and they catch 20-kilo ones like they're nothing, you know. They're cool fish. But, yeah, we really give them a hurting in the day.
Yep.
And it's cool to get blue-eye trevally and that with them and all that sort of
Bass
stuff.
groper occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've got two, one night and one day that stand out for me. And funnily enough, they were both in the same trip. And I don't know if it was because of the trip in general, but the first time I ever fucking found a goldie spot myself after picking Joe's off. And I only ever found one real good one. It was me and Ant Simper, and I'd flogged Ant Simper to the bone that day. And I was actually watching My Name's Earl on the laptop of Van Diemen and run across this spot in 132 metres. It blew up, and I was like, fuck, that looks good. Pull back around, drop the pick, and me and Ant Simper got 14 or 1,500 kilos in a few hours that night. And a couple of days later, we'd filled the boat at Van Diemen, and Lee was fishing a bit north of me with, I think, maybe Larry and his old man, maybe on the Rose. He's going right up there, and he goes, yeah, we're picking away. And I said, fuck, I've just found a massive school of mackies here. And what was it called? Fucking that 40-metre lump off the back end, off the north end of Barrow there. And I called his on the radio. Me and Ant jumped on the boat, and we had a fucking fat time smacking these mackies. And that's when those are the two real fucking standout moments for me.
Yeah.
Was my first found my own goldies, caught my own goldies.
Yep.
And I remember fucking Ant Simper, he'd done a trip with Lee and Custer before, and he fucking loved it. And I'd never fucking experienced fishing that quick, you know, and I was just like, you bait and I'll do everything else. So I was running 2 inches and spiking and icing, and he was just baiting hooks.
Yeah,
baiting
right.
hooks, and I had my fucking ring hanging out.
Yeah.
It was fucking awesome. I think it was about 1,400 kilos for 4 hours, which back then I think we were getting $9 a kilo. So you're looking at fucking 12 grand.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a fucking unreal trip, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the whole time. Having Ant, catching up with these blokes. I think we went to Thevenard on the way home, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
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 Hit up the pub there.
Yeah, went on the pub there, but normally they'd have a fishing comp there, and we'd roll in and want a bloody drink with everyone. They'd all be rooted from fishing, and we'd be all excited. So we'd be on the sauce, and everyone else would go to bed on us.
Yeah, we'd be coming home after a week's fishing, ready to get on the bloody rum.
Yeah,
and they'd all be asleep.
Nothing.
But I don't know if I can mention this. If you cut it out, if not, but that's where I first discovered Buttman. Cut that out. Buttman's like a XXX rated magazine. This guy Russell had like Buttman Joy. Check this out. Do you remember that? Yeah.
Who had it?
This guy that fishes Dirt Clatworthy, this cunt that owns a fucking
Russell, the nursery guy.
Good cunt.
Banana.
Yeah.
And he's like, because we're a picture.
Had all these dirty magazines back before these did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were picturing people.
We're
and
cutting
zoo.
that out.
Yeah.
Why that?
Yes, just
Like, and then this cunt had Buttman, boy. And it was like XN, like you fucking typical porn state. I don't know much about it. People have told me.
Yeah. I heard about the porn.
But it was like a triple X.
yeah, it was like modern porn. Now.
Yeah, right.
And you're going to cut this out if you are, but I actually had to go in and ask Matty Sharp at the fucking news agency. He goes, yeah, to buy the counter. And I took it on Van Diemen, and it was the worst luck trip I had in months, and I ditched the cunt out the window on the way home because I'm very superstitious. When things change, you got your staple. You had your picture, your people, and your zoo.
Yeah.
Right? You had your columns. You had
I never brought any porn out.
Oh, that's not really porn. That's sort of stuff.
Nah,
like
even self-called porn. I was like, I'm not going to see a woman for the next 7 days.
It was ritual, man. Like you'd go to the shops.
Yeah.
And then you'd go and get something from the bakery, and then you'd go and get your zoos, and then you'd fuck off fishing.
Yeah. Talking about like fucking the superstition. I remember I had a trip where just not catching anything, trying new marks, and my decky kept asking me to put Xavier Rudd on. And I'm like, we're not
That'll
putting
make it
Xavier
worse.
Rudd, fucker. Fish don't like Xavier Rudd, all right? Because like last thing you want when you're fishing nighttime is fucking something that's going to put you to sleep.
Yeah.
And then this cunt's like, nah, come on, can you just play it at this spot? So I put it on and fucking the fish just start coming up. So the next 2.5 days, Xavier Rudd. Flat
Xavier Rudd.
So, he catches fish. That'll do.
Yeah, I'd rather just not get the fish, I reckon.
Yeah, you go home and call it quits. But I tell you what, fuck, we had a black IP stuck in the CD player on Van Diemen for about 18 months, and yeah.
Well, when me and Dan first started fishing together on Helvetia, which was, a 38 Andy Ferrio, which was massive boat back them days.
Sick boat.
This is how long ago it was. Dan made a mixtape for our cassette.
Yep.
For our bloody for our trip. And even now today we listen to it that much, you wore the bloody tape out. That's what you did back then, even before the CDs and shit.
A tape.
Even now, I'll hear one of the songs come on the tape, and instinctively in my mind I think the next song on the tape's coming on afterwards, and it never does. You're like, that's right, it's not that fucking tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ever had that
Steve
before?
had one of them. It was fucking John Butler. Bump, bump, ba-da-dum. First song on it. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Still gets me angry today.
Yeah. And speaking of fucking like legends and people like, the guys that discovered things, Steve Salmera, of course, your old boss, Shay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely stand out in my mind as one of the fucking pioneers of a lot, And I only had the pleasure of doing one Monty's trip with him, and it was fucking unreal.
Oh, mate. Fucking
unreal.
Yeah. Like that's one thing you can never experience again is a Monty's trip with fucking Steve Salmeri that, you're lucky just to do it once. I got to do it a fair few times, and fucking I couldn't imagine doing one now because I don't think it'd be the same. But
Well, they just don't make people like him now.
No,
Everyone's
fuck
just
no.
this piss weak shadow of a man because they're too scared to offend anyone. Where Steve was the total opposite. He's like
He didn't give a
the
fuck.
full alpha bull at a gate.
Yeah.
Fuck you all. But then in that like typical strong man, the first guy that's got your back when you need help or whatever,
yeah.
So,
I remember when I pulled the pin to go offshore from Blue Horizon, and I was fucking shit myself bringing the bloke, and I fucking shit myself, and I rang him up. Yeah, Steve, blah, blah, blah. Look, mate, I'm pulling the pin. Oh, yeah, no worries, mate. Too easy. All right, I'll speak to you later. And I just hung up, and I was like, fuck, that went so well. Would have been 20 seconds later. Call me. How you going? Yeah, fuck it. I fucking fed it to me, mate. I was like, well, I want to do this. He goes, well, go and fucking do it then. Well, I am, Steve. Good, fuck off. And just fucking let me have it. Just let me have it. And I didn't see him for years, man. And he picked me up from the airport. We're on the same flight, and he drove me into town. We had a good old chat, and then we were fucking buds again, And he was a legend, mate. There's no doubt about it, And that's, for me, like that sort of like I said, you and Damo and fucking even Salmonhead, guys like that is what I remember.
Fucking Salmonhead.
Mate,
he will never die.
He was trapping. He pulled up on a boat where I was at Darwin, did a first trip out there on the Starcat, and this boat pulled up to give us some stuff. And who was fucking chucking the stuff over? Old salmon head. And
He's been fishing forever. Hasn't he?
And I actually got fucking done over by a box jellyfish tentacle, and I lost about a week of my life. And in the time that I was fucked up in my room on that trap boat, we'd blown a motor and drove in. And I remember the Starfire, which Salmonhead was on, towed us in, which were the Starcat sister ships.
Yep.
And they took me to the hospital and they gave me this little pill, and that was it. That was fucking fine. And I remember that night later on, Salmonhead went to the casino, lost all his money, come back down, started abusing the skipper. The skipper rolled him, and that was it. And he come back down the next day for pack out all fucked up. And you're right to come back. Graham, come on, mate. Let's go. I reckon he was a fucking gun decky.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking machine.
That's why, like, he still gets work. And then something like that will happen. He got stabbed a couple months ago, so I
probably won't be the first
I think him and Damo and Joe, they were all longlining.
Yeah.
Back in the early days of when the longlining heyday of WA was on.
Yeah.
You know, and all three of them just gun workers from that because, you know, longlining was another level of hard work again to what line fishing is. I think back in them days, they had to pay part of the cost and half the time you come in and get a bill. Do 10 days at sea in fucking off Rottnest Trench getting pounded and get a fucking
get
bill.
flogged on a 60-footer they've converted to tuna for fucking, you know, because the tuna are going gangbusters. And that's when I first heard about Damo. He was driving Napoleon or maybe Genesis or something like that, one of those big fucking Freeman Bay West Coasters.
Yeah, I think it might have been Genesis.
Might have been Genesis, which either went trapping or turned into whale song, one of the two. There was Genesis, Exodus and Napoleon all come out at the same time. And and I heard of him, and I'm pretty sure Lee would have heard of him. We heard of him smacking big fucking blue eye and bass groper in Rottnest Trench. On the either drop line or fucking something like that.
I was
years
actually talking to Custard about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Hitting him up for some marks.
I've seen he fucking gets into the pooker and that, eh?
Yeah,
he's just one of them guys. I remember even seeing him years later after he'd stopped commercial fishing down the Bay Arrest crabbing, and he was just putting around with his missus in his tiny little dinghy, just putting around the mangroves. And he was just scooping them up like that, and we were hooking them and had traps, not traps, dilly nets and that. And then I remember seeing him back at the ramp. We had like 3 mud crabs, not too bad. And he'd fucking bagged out. I was like, you dirty prick, give us a licking again.
Yeah, he
just one of these guys that must think outside the box a little bit, but just be really sharp on what's actually going on.
Just one of those freaks, man, those Ant Simper types, those fucking, you know, those, you wouldn't, they go beyond tin ass.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
He was, it's funny because he's real easygoing but pedantic at the same time. So like you were talking about Joe, we would up the anchor 3 times if it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
Like it had to be perfect. It was funny watching the way he fished, even though he was Steve's decky from the age of 14. His style was very different to Steve's. Steve's was a lot more like the fish will come to us. We're there. If we're catching, we don't move. Whereas Damo was like, if we're not catching at a rate, we'll move.
Both exceptional fishermen too, you know. And you would have learned a shitload off them too, eh? Squirrels like fucking guns, man.
Yeah, you'd think so, but
wow, like I said, mate, I got left Joe's dynasty, so I was fucking lucky, you know. And I learned a shitload off Lee and Joe and Rob. So like all fucking exceptionally good fishermen in their fields, you know. And Lee was fucking killing us on the rubies for a long time there on the Rose, him and Custard, and
it was bloody good times with Steve. I remember talking to him early days when we were fishing and talking about, I think we got 700 Espangos or whatever, and he goes, I remember getting 700 Espangos inside the reef one night before the sanctuary was there, back when you could commercial fish there. And he goes, but the worst is we go out to gill and gut every single one. It's like, fucking hell. And they did that in the night. Wow, we were just spiking them and putting them on. That's a big job when you're gill and gutting every single fish.
Especially fucking Spangos.
Yeah, that's right. I fillet them at the shop now, but that's after the fact. You know, not while you're out at sea.
They're already fucking caught and nice.
They had a charter the next day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so they
that's keen, isn't it?
Yeah, that was back when the rules weren't set where you needed the big gap in between. They actually extended the sanctuary. It wasn't inside the reef. It was on the west side, but they extended that sanctuary because of that. Someone seen them filleting on the mooring at Bundagi, and they were like, that spawning school needs to be inside
Extended.
the sanctuary. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, probably not the worst call either.
Yeah.
You know, like if you can duck around the west side and smack 700, 800 kilos of snapper, fuck,
Yeah.
you're going to put a dent in them pretty quick, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember them talking about they sent down the snapper winch, and I think I can't remember how many hooks it had, but they came up with one extra fish.
Yeah,
And
two on
fucking
one.
they're like,
Hook.
what? Nah, it coughed out the sinkers.
Oh,
Fucking
yeah.
swallowed the sinker.
Yeah, I've had a
that.
bit of that. Yeah. You get the odd cod or rankin must swallow it on the way down, and it punch it, and
Goes through
it comes straight through its gill bit.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't fucking get it out.
Yeah, yeah. Seen a Spaniard out in the Goldies.
Yeah,
One of
Spaniards were good like
Yeah,
that.
one of those big long Rio bars we used to use, straight in the gob, straight out the gill.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Bottom
Yeah,
hook, bottom hook, mate.
We used to get that on because we'd make our own sinkers. They were so shiny.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
just pull it up and it'd have teeth marks in it, like on the way down the Spanish Max, fucking hitting it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember another thing just now that we got Dan here. We used to do a lot of commercial mackerel fishing. And one thing we've done different commercially than a lot of others in the past, except for your Carnarvon guys like your Brenny and Rubber
Yeah,
and that
Rubber,
come up. We used to fish a lot at night. And we'd have it that thick sometimes that we'd make these 400-pound hand lines just with gang hooks on them and put gars on them. And then you just chuck them out only 10 metres or 20 metres out the back of the boat and pull on them real quick like they're moving, and you just catch one after the other.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to have a lot when the fish were big, 20 kilos, 18 kilos. I used to have a lot of mine gaffed, but because Dan's such a man mountain, he'd just fucking fling them on past you. And it was always a bit of fun, and you'd think, oh yeah, I'll catch more than you. And we'd have a bit of a go, and Dan's pile would always be a fair bit bigger than mine. He'd get him on and back out real fucking quick.
Yeah.
He'd always get a fucking scratch or two on him, but he was going full
Man,
noise.
mate, remember?
Got a few got a big hook in you once.
Yeah, I
but,
got a fucking 16-0 tuna circle through my little pinky. First ever trip on Van Diemen. Joe Gallup told me, he goes, don't rush. We've never had a hook in anyway. 20 minutes later, boom. And he was just looking at me like, pull it out, cunt, because I'm not going in.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. But yeah, saying that with Lee, like that's another night that's, the more you get into it, the more you remember. And I remember a night with Lee, and I've got a fucking good memory when it comes to what I want to remember.
Yeah.
And it was me, him, Pete Lawton, and this American guy. I think his name was Curtis. I can't remember.
It was Curtis, yeah.
And me and Lee fished. Curtis gaffed and Pete clean, and we got 184 in 4 or 5 hours commercial fishing. And I seen this cunt get 30 in a row on a spoon at night.
Yeah,
It's the first
right.
time he ever tried it. They were that thick.
Yeah.
And I had my hand line with my guardies, and I was smacking him, and this cunt's just fucking 30 in a row, man.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable to see, mate.
Yeah, just tied on a barra spoon with a bit of with a bit of wire trace, like just single strand at night.
At night.
Under the floodlights, cast it out, wind it fast, and just 30 in a row. And you could move
30.
them so quick because instead of having gangs, you just had the big single.
Yep.
You gaff them on, pop it out, and chuck it. And wasn't it? It was just quick as and that's been a secret weapon since. They love that thing at night.
It would, we hadn't used it before, and fuck, they were going gangbusters. So fuck, I'll try this, and sure enough, just smacked him, man, smacked him, and
Because baiting the hooks was part of the slowest bit.
it's gonna
and
take
getting the
your
gangs
time.
out of their mouths.
Yeah.
You got to get the pliers out, whereas this thing was just fucking boom out.
Yeah, chuck it out,
Easy.
boom. Yeah. Yeah, that
Unreal.
thing's been a bit of a deadly weapon
There
since
you
at
go. I
night
can't remember
time.
seeing it work before that trip, and there you go.
Yeah.
Like,
And the other thing, I've never caught a wahoo at night or a billfish at night doing it, but caught plenty of tuna, yellowfin tuna.
Yep.
And they love that spoon at night.
Is
When
that
it's
right?
fluttering down, they'll just eat
there
it.
you go.
Yeah.
I actually caught a real nice, not real nice, maybe 30 kilo fin on that exact spot on a guardie at night. And it's the only one I've ever caught at night. Not that I've done much fucking night fishing since, but I do remember that really clearly. That was cool as fuck.
Yeah, that's always sort of proved to me when marlin fishing that night time's probably not much of a go, because we get marlin and sailfish all the time swimming in the lights because we had big floodlights to attract the bait, and they'll come and play with the bubbles coming out of the generator, the cooling water, but you never get them to eat anything or catch them. And I sort of always thought, and same with wahoo, I thought, it's not worth doing that. But I know in Florida and places around the world, guys will trawl for massive yellowfin tuna and other tuna at night because it'll make them dumb. They can't see the leader.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and they trawl and catch big ones at night.
See, that makes perfect sense, because these guys over East are smacking them big fin, and that's one thing I don't know fuck all about yellowfin fishing out of Exmouth, far from what you blokes should know. But, you know, when I fished with Jethro a bit, he goes, these guys are running 200-pound leaders, you know, and when you're blue fishing, 200-pound leader not going to stand up to a fucking 400-pound blue. And I learned that a fair bit off you as well, Lee. And yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? They can't see that leader at night and they'll smack, 600-pound leader and they can fucking.
Yeah, it turns them a bit dumb. So they're happy to eat at night.
Bit like rough weather, but to another degree, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. You know, so that's one thing I'd love to do back in Exmouth is just get them calm as nights and just fucking hit it all night and when the tuna are there and just see if you get them start piling on, because I know it can be a bit of a thing that guys do.
That'd be exciting, wouldn't it?
Oh, fuck yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I remember Mikey Jacob telling me about, I wouldn't think it was at night time, but fucking real high speed trolling for blue marlin, like 17, 20 knots.
Yeah, right.
And he reckons the bites were just fucking insane. You go on board and you get a 600-pound blue pile on, man. The bite would just be next fucking level, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because they get a lot of wahoo doing that.
Oh, do they? Yeah.
And so going back, I think Ross Newton was like sword fishing and caught big yellowfin tuna at night.
That's right. Yeah, he's young.
Out off Exmouth.
Yeah, they got knocked up the 96 kilo.
Yeah, I think Critter got one and I can't remember her name. The daughter got one as well. Yeah, they were both records.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a 90 and an 80, high 80s or something.
Something like that.
Like monsters, you
know?
massive
So,
things. You know, them tuna aren't shy at night.
Yeah.
In fact, they're better to fish for. Like mackerel, you know, they just it dumbs them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Where most people don't realise as a commercial mackerel fisherman, particularly us, was mostly nighttime. They think it's all daytime, you know.
Yep.
There was days that fucking went well, but the most fish I've seen have always been at night. Yeah, you'd have your fucking 100 fish days, but yeah, sometimes at night time it'd be 120, 150s, you know.
Yeah,
massive,
that's right.
Massive. That's a lot of fucking mackies, man.
It's a lot of mackerel, man,
184 that night, you know, and that probably, you know, when you fucking knock them all up, that's 1,800 kilos, you know, that's fishing, man.
Harder to find before you found those spots at night? Are they just kind of congregating, or they're just
not
fucking
so
active?
much. So if you know where your good lumps are, what time of year and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then if you're fishing it every week at that time, so you get a feel for where they're moving. They move between them and back and whatnot.
Yep.
Up and down the coast, and then you can sort of go to the main holding edge or whatever you might think it's going to be, the way the current's going or whatever. And if you don't sound them, but you think they're going to be there, anchor on it, bang your biggest floodlights you can, and then you really only need to give it about 45 minutes or an hour. And if they haven't come to you by then, just pull the pick and go to the next one.
Yeah.
Where trawling, you can sort of look all in the daytime. If you're trawling for them, you can look all over the lump because they can be in little obscure spots.
Yeah.
Where when you've got unless it's a full moon, that can fuck you up because your floodlights aren't as effective.
Yep.
But once you got your floodlights up, if they don't come to you, just bite the bullet and go to the next one. Travel 20 mile or 10 mile or whatever. And then once you do it again, you at the right time of year, you usually make it happen. You can sort of get a feel for it, don't you?
Yeah, you do, man. And you know, like you'd probably be able to back this up more than anyone, but they can be super reliable, but they can be fucking fickle too.
Yeah.
Really fickle. You know, I remember doing a couple of days with Joe early in the days where we didn't really know much about it, and they just nick the fucking guardies. They have guardies on the rope and the fucking on the lead lines, of course. You'd have two lures and generally guardies when you weren't getting much, and they'd just nick them at the arsehole of all things, just to put a little nick in them.
Yeah.
Once they'd nicked them, mate, they would not bite them again, you know. And
Yeah, okay.
and then you'd work, and Joe was fucking good at that too, mate. You know, like he'd pick off one or two, and they're here. You can see them; they're here. So he'd start picking off one or two, and then you get maybe a three, like a triple hook up.
Yeah.
And then he'd pick away like that, and he'd get his 50 a day, and then you'd get your 50 at night, and that'd make it worthwhile. And you'd have to fish hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like them big fucking boom 100.
Yeah. Well, that's where I've fished
It
with.
can be hard, can't
I've
it?
fished with coops since, you know, because now that's gone to mackerel quota. We used to have 30 tonne of quota, but we sold that, and Coops is one of the bigger mackerel quota holders in the Pilbara now, and comes up from Shark Bay to fish it every year. And he only fishes daytime, so he can sleep at night. And I've fished with him, and he's taken it to a whole new level of finesse. Everything's, you know, swivel size, line size, and it's fucking awesome.
Is that right?
Yeah, he catches the shit out of them. And they use, without giving too much away, but they use a sandmar, like a sourie, instead of a guardie. And it's the same sort of thing. It's if you can get them, the first couple to nibble a few, then as you catch them, it's sort of self-burleying.
Yep.
And you end up with more and more, and you can actually turn them on.
Yeah.
And they'll turn them on to bite. He'll find them on the sounder and go, we'll get them to go, knock it out of gear, knock it in gear, let them sink a bit, and just read that sounder, and he's taking it to another level. He's very, very good at catching.
And
them.
another fucking
Way
really,
better
really
than
good
I
fisherman.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. Ran Sharia Moore with fucking what was
Koozie.
Koozie, yeah.
and
And
he-
he get seasick at night, poor cunt, every night.
Yeah.
And they used to fucking smack the fish in shallow, man, 9-10 meters, and they'd get some pretty impressive fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, wet line. Same as Sandman Street, he was pretty fucking good too, and
Yeah.
there's some funny
Yeah, they
stories
taught
about him.
us. Yeah, they taught us a lot about
fuck,
shallow water
yeah.
fishing, didn't they? Like
They did, man. They did, and we
hand lining at
never-
night. If you
yeah.
couldn't get it to go out deep, you go into 20 meters with hand lines, and we caught some crazy captures. I wouldn't have
Fucking
known
unreal.
any of that without them guys.
And then Joe was going in there that 9-10 meter stuff, and we were getting good fish, but nothing like what they got, and it was sort of 20 to 30 meters is where we really excelled.
Yeah.
But these guys were getting 600 kilos off spots in 9 meters, man.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure they were.
Yeah, they were bringing in like 14 kilo reds and stuff. Just going,
and not fucking once or twice either.
Yeah.
Like it was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very rarely they used to pop out to 100 and smack a few gold band and that if the shallows weren't going. And they're fucking good at that too, But yeah, another good memory of those guys, cruising around with those guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one good memory with Streety, who used to be Coops' skipper back in the day on Sandman, a big cat. We were all young, we were all early 20s, and he was, what would he have been then, 45 or something, 50?
Yeah, I reckon he was mid-40s, early
And
40s,
he's
mid-40s.
a bit like Dan here, he's a man mountain, the dude's huge. And we challenged him to a drinking comp on the boat.
Morning
But
Rose.
we didn't drink. It was. We didn't drink at sea, but we're in the harbour, tied
Yeah,
up to
yeah.
the wharf. So he goes, "Yeah, you supply the piss, I'll have yours on." And there was me, Dan, and another guy that worked with us, Custard, Cade Ross. Yep. So we bought a block of piss each, a block of piss for Streety, and a spare block of piss,
Fair block of UDLs.
spare block of UDLs.
Yeah.
And we
Fucking
were.
hell,
I
mate.
think I was about.
But he had a 30 block, remember?
He had a 30
30
block.
block
I
and
reckon
blue,
I was
yeah.
about 16 into mine.
Yeah.
Like fucking going deep. And he's like, where's them UDLs? And we just looked at each other like, holy fucking, give us a But we challenged him to drink off. We're like,
Yeah.
we're going to have you old dog.
Yeah.
And then
Give us a paddling, didn't he?
got into the UDLs. And then by the end of it, we're all hopping off the boat and he fell off the bow into the piss. And the dude's huge, we tried to lift him up under the wall. Proper pin drop off the fell off
the rose.
Just stepped straight off and just missed the catwalk completely. Just pin dropped
man.
straight into the marina.
And lucky he didn't fucking open himself up on those oyster encrusted
Oh,
rocks.
how
'cause
bad were they?
It was so funny.
Fucking give us a paddle. Where's them UDLs at?
Yeah.
And we're just like, fuck, we're fucked here.
And then I think, mate, well, Darren would remember better than me, but I think even the next day, fucking we all, and him, we all rocked up for pack out in the morning. you
Yeah,
know, as
yeah.
you did back in them
Yeah,
days.
I couldn't
Very-
do it now.
Oh, mate, very, very, very. Even then, like you still had a bit of go in you. Like, oh, yeah, you couldn't do it now. But fuck, this cunt was like 42,
Yeah,
45,
yeah.
older than what we are now.
Yeah.
And he was just there, mate. And then, like you'd see him, the poor cunt, he was on a fucking pretty small boat, 34 foot. And Custard was his deckhand, but Custard was also working at Better Electrical as well. So, when they got the weather, they'd go. So Street, he'd be sometimes in there 3-4 weeks at a time. And fuck, he'd be there with his goon. Me and Lee used to park up next to him on Helvetia. And yeah, he'd have his goon bag there and his wine. And he's like
What time have we got?
6:30.
6:30. Yeah. Was there anything you guys wanted to talk about?
That's pretty good, I think.
I fucking cheers for having us on. This is the best fun I've had in ages, mate.
Nah.
Third time lucky, and
Yeah,
thank you very much
it's
for having
awesome.
me.
We'll have to get you on again just to talk about your spearfishing with LEEWOLD.
yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah, we haven't even got into that.
We can do that because that was another fucking huge highlight of
Yeah.
my misspent youth, fucking all that sort of stuff. And there's more to discuss, but yeah, cheers for having us. That was fucking fantastic.
I definitely want to speak more, but we got a show
Yeah.
I got to get to.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Cheers for chumming up, Big Horse.
No worries, mate. And web drill. Rep the web drill hats.
Yeah.
Yep.
hat.
From fishing and offshore to underground.
Yeah.
That's it.
Web-
Cheers, Squirrels.
Web drill. We're here to drill because we don't fuck spiders.
First down, last up.
First down, last up.
Written on the back of your hat, mate.
Right.
First down the hole, last up.
Well, mine's better.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Web
Yeah.
drill,
It
we're
is,
not
but
here to fuck spiders.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
Squirrely's fucking bottom fishing mentality. First down, last up, 'cause you didn't hook anything.
All right, cheers for jumping up. Catch you next time.
It's out.
Oh my god, what the fuck is happening right now? Dolphin in killer whale's mouth? Holy shit. Oh, this is the best day of my life, God. What?
I like going down the pond and chasing bluegills and kamikazes.